Get started. So this session will be a bit short, but again, thank you for the questions. Thank you for going through this. I wanted to start a quick opening, and I know we've been quite distant from the community recently, and this was a conscious choice, and sorry for that. I know that some of you guys were frustrated, and I totally understand it. Um, I hope I'll be able to answer a bit more what's going on in the background. I think some of the questions are spot on. So you see exactly what we are working on and what we've been prioritizing as well. But again, I think there's a rule of thumb where it's important that we just keep, that we respect each other. I agree that some could have taken personally the fact that I did not respond, that the team was not responding. However, just from the rule of thumb is we are working hard in the back end, in the background to make sure that request network is delivering, is going through what initially was intended for this protocol, and we're working out for it. Um, Feedback taken, however, we'll make sure that we respond a bit more. So we're in a different phase. We were building very aggressively for the last 6 months. We've built a lot, and naturally we have potentially underinvested in the community. So wanted to convey and apologize. Sorry for that, guys. Now we have a team that is more structured. There've been some few changes, as you might have seen in the team, to make sure that we have the right talent at the right place. And this is something you will see less of. However, feedback is always welcome. If you want more, never hesitate. We've discussed with Alexi as well. We'll make sure that these AMA come way more often. They shouldn't be just a once in every few months or once in a blue moon session, but something that should be more often. I agree that I don't respond very often, so at least the least I can do is making sure that we can organize these calls often. Good. So, wanted to go first with the first question. Do you guys see the screen I share? I just want to make sure. I'm in streamer mode, so I don't see what I share. I assume so. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Alex. So, when will the rec from the old burn mechanism be burned? And what are the plans to move the collected burn fee of the API usage from an EOA to a smart contract so anyone can call the burn function? That's a really good question. That's more of a, like, I'll be very much, I'll do two things. I'll go into the detail of technicality, why this is hard, why also the smart contract is something that, even though it's what we want to do, it's something that has complexity as well. But yeah, so technically the old so the burn mechanism today, it used to be a 10, like a technically a 10 cent USD equivalent in REC at when you persist an invoice. So when you sent a REC, when you sent a request and you persist it on the blockchain. That means that technically it was technically a fee that was taken from, so at the moment of persistence. We have evolved, especially as now that we moved our fee from a persistence, the moment where you store, like we store a request on the blockchain, to the moment where a payment is detected, or at least the payment is executed. And I think that was part of the move from a request, like an invoicing protocol, which I'll go a bit more in detail later on, but then move to a payment protocol. So now we have, and I don't know if you've seen the product, but we allow any one thing from any EVM to a recipient that want to receive on one of the top six EVM as well. So that means that we are collecting the fee on the sending chain at the moment of the payment. So we have a pretty complex flow where anytime someone pays either same chain or cross chain, the fees are collected on the sending chain. And by the way, this is something that we have not turned on broadly, and you might have seen it. And this goes the same with the orchestrator. So we are evolving the way our product works to make sure that anyone can monetize our technology. So here, the reason why we did EOA is because it's way easier to manage across chain, and also it on the short term was potentially low cost option in order not to have a stateful smart contract that could hold funds and potentially had to be protected against ill intent, ill usage, or hacks. So we took the decision to actually store, for the time being, the fees on EOA on the sending chain for the protocol and as well as for our orchestrators. So it means that everything is collected on the sending chain on every chain we cover, and they are moved periodically. So far, we felt that investing in a full-fledged smart contract fee collection and burning mechanism, knowing that these are collected as well in the token of the transaction. So it means that there's multiple tokens on multiple chains. If you pay in EuroC, you will have fees in EuroC collected. So building a fee mechanism on a smart contract that could collect fees in many currency, swap them for REX, send them across chain in order to automate the burn. That's something that we've decided not to invest too much time on because we know the fees are collected and we want to measure them. And to the question of PG, that is when. So I think that's the part where it's a matter of investment. Today, we manage the fees. We want to, we will trigger the burn, and that's how we want to operate. The automated smart contract approach, we felt it was not necessary at the short term in the beginning just to get up and running. So that's why we've done EOA, because of the complexity of smart contract on each chain in each currency, as well as the swap and the liquidity to move it to REC and to burn it automatically. So that's the long-winded answer. Something that also is important to know, and something I think, Martin, you asked a question on Discord, why we have not turned it on. We have not turned on our protocol fee for the dashboard for one main reason is we have seen a lot of traction from what we call orchestrators. So bigger payment processors that want to white label our technology and monetize on top of us. And so we wanted to make sure that the interest of the orchestrators that wanted to facilitate payment using our technology were covered first and ours covered second to make sure that there was a very strong interest to launch. And as well, we faced some issue on Tron. We see a lot of traction and Tron being an important chain to work on. However, the fee mechanism is very complex. The way we are collecting fees through batch, so we actually execute the consumer execute a batch of transaction, the principal and the fees spike up a lot the gas prices, which means that we had to find a solution to reduce the gas price on Tron or to only turn on fees on EVM and not on Tron. And we've taken the decision to keep the adoption running, or at least keep people being excited to work with our product. And we'll be able to turn on monetization at any moment in time. It's not like with Request Finance, I will be stuck with them. Whether using our technology decentralized, we have the ability to turn it on later on. So that's why in our case, we chose to do EOA for speed to market. We chose not to turn on our fees to make sure that we not kill our Tron product or that just monetize on one side and the other. But rest assured that the goal is burn. The goal is the REC. There's actually we have other projects in plan for the REC, potentially in the medium future, in order to even further anchor its position. Any follow-up question before I move on to the next one? Martin, Econ, Noob. Okay, I'll take it as a no. Oh. So that's a good point. So let me just read it again. What concrete, publicly verifiable, so I'll go back on the previous one. What publicly verifiable metrics should token holders use over the next 6 to 12 months to conclude that this has changed? And what happened to the REC? What happens to REC investment case if payment volume, collected protocol fee, and burn still do not materially increase? And I just want to make sure. So yes, I think it's a twofold. The REC we have Request Finance that is actually, and I don't know if you've seen the changes, but Request Finance is going through quite a deep pivot. So the foundation market, due to the bear market, is dying. So the amount of foundation being able to use reliably Request Finance or any other payment protocol to disperse, to execute and track, this market has shrunk. So we're seeing, so the fact that the volume of Request Finance is dropping, or at least the volume of the protocol and indirectly due to Request Finance volume dropping, is mostly due to an overall market shift. People are, like foundations, funds are dying out. And that's why they're actually moving into credit card payments or like debit cards with one USD account and stablecoin account, still using the technology. However, they are in a pivot phase. So I would say explaining the loss of ground of the REC over the last year is, yeah, I think the first one is the market that we were even targeting last year was a dying market. There was a lot of, I think, of fluff around like the crypto price being high, so felt that like the businesses were going up. But for example, we saw with HQ, I don't know if you remember HQ Fund, there was both of our Bignosis shut down. So we have a lot of businesses that were running after growth. They even got bought out that actually closed. So the first one is overall, the market we're targeting is dying, and Request Finance volume is dying, and ours indirectly also dying, about going down. In terms of what happened over the last 6 months is, I don't know if you followed it, but we've redesigned entirely our technology, our value added. So we brought in KYT, we brought in the secure payment page, we brought in cross-chain, we brought it batch out cross-chain. So we did a lot of features, and the product that I think for finally in crypto is full-fledged. For example, in April, when we onboarded BlockScout, our product was very minimal. It was just an MVP. We were just collecting from one chain, so it was only USDC on Ethereum to USDC on Ethereum, and so on. In terms of measurable metrics, today I think in the next 6 to 12 months, the amount of the volume of payment tracked through our dashboard mainly, which indirectly the API, but our product with the secure payment page and our smart contract will be the best indicator. So the one that you're following, Martin, so the subgraph events of of our smart contracts on the receiving chain will have all the transaction in. The fees are a bit more complex because the fees will be collected from the sending chain and on multiple wallets. Well, like actually one, but on multiple chains in multiple currency. So they will potentially be periodic. So I think today what we can say is, and I'll be super frank, beside Request Finance last year, there was actually very, very low activity on the protocol. We had people integrating, people trying, cryptos using us, and then stopping to use us. It's people all finding market fit, looking for their market fit around us. I think today what could be like what is interesting is we have already partners that are reliably using us, and I think notably people like BlockScout that have been collecting like tens of thousands of dollars, which is for one merchant, it's not incredible, like but it's just someone that is able to reliably use us progressively more and more every month for a product that is just a few months old. I would say keep focusing on looking at the payment volume, and that will be the best indicator. Today, we also have interesting, bigger size partnerships that are in the making that we cannot talk about, that we believe are at a scale that we've never seen in the past. We cannot communicate, and there's still room for error or for this not happening. But the tone, the direction, and the, I think, interest and use case that we're now covering is way more firm, and has solid value proposition. So yeah, keep following the payment volume. The REC, burn, and the commission will flow out of it. And I agree that we have not turned on the fees, even though we turned on the feature, but we pivoted from the API in January to a more full-fledged, potentially a bit more accessible product that is showing good progress. But yeah, that's what we'll follow. Whoop, did I miss one? No, yeah. Have you seen any results from the PR campaigns that you guys run recently? Have your marketing sales team been able to acquire any new leads that have led to new network usage? So the answer is yes and no. So for PR campaigns, it's always a bit hard. It builds your brand, it builds your recognition, but usually it's quite hard to measure. You can see traffic increase, you can see more people coming in. I think something that we've been hurt from in the next few years is I think we were a full decentralized crypto nerd product, and then we went a bit silent. And or at least we were not silent, but then our tech did not really improve or improve since a few years, or at least we did not find a proper value proposition for people to know us. So that's what we've launched. So Alexi and Mickey, that helps us as well, have done an amazing job in getting out in the open for people to know us on the iGaming space. Why iGaming? And when I say iGaming, this is what we call like gambling, online casinos, or like poly markets or the prediction markets, because they are, yeah, yeah, I think that they have a challenge today. So in crypto, it's very hard to accept crypto at scale, and especially in the iGaming space, because in iGaming, usually there are offshore companies that run in a place where they're licensed, like Malta, and they're usually online and serving the world. What we have seen is they are struggling to accept crypto. Usually, either they're big enough, like Stake, and they create their own wallet infrastructure. But as soon as they're small, either they rely on CoinSpade or on PSPs that usually are very picky on the flow, or they are not served at all. So we're seeing actually a very good traction on the iGaming space for our product, and that's why you've seen mostly two main PR initiatives, one in the iGaming space and one in our core market, which is the crypto native space. So overall, we've seen, but it's a joint effort. We are very present on events with iGamings we're talking to, and as well on crypto native. We are seeing really good traction, and that's the answer. The second part of the question, we used to talk with small builders techno and like tech enthusiasts, usually looking for grants. Now we're talking to way bigger guys, people that have a very firm and clear need of acquiring crypto that we are solving. And so, yes, I don't think that it's the PR only that was able to bring it in. I don't think is it was also the fact of being present at events. We've been very present on the iGaming space and crypto space over the last 6 months, plus anchoring our brand a bit more. And I also believe that the product we've built is quite spot on. I don't know if you're familiar with our dashboard, the secure payment page, cross-chain, batch, KYT, but to give you an example, we are somehow ahead of Fireblocks, for example, that just launched Fireblocks Flow. We have an offering that is, in my opinion, simpler, more robust, without the need for custody at a fraction of the cost, and they can operate at scale. So we have done a pretty good job on being well positioned now, and we're also trying to harvest those efforts. So by being present with Alexi, helping doing really good PRs and more presence online, even though we went a bit silent for a few months while we were redesigning everything. And today, yes, we have really good leads. We have people integrating as we speak. The people that are a bit smaller, they tend to struggle to make volume, but we also have big ones integrating also. So we are in a really good spot in terms of funnel, in terms of discussion, in terms of firm potential volumes. Yeah, so that was my way to answer. So yes, result from the PR, but result from a joint movements of an aligned team in a direction. Any question? Yeah, in case you want to add something, Martin, Econ, Noob, feel free to add anything here. Are there any plans to generate fee payments that result in token burn from request finance in the near future? I think I answered mostly this question as they are pivoting. Their disbursement, payment generation business seem to be losing speed, and they seem to be pivoting to way more kind of like card, or trying to abstract crypto usage for everyone to make sure it's easy for everyone to use. A bit less tech savvy users, because the tech savvy users with money used to be foundations, and this market is shorting up. The answer is, in order for to be able to collect tokens like a burn from request finance, they would have to change to our API. What I know is the cost in maintenance and the energy in maintenance, and now we have superior services with cross-chain, batch, etc. I will not be surprised that they will potentially move to our stack. But again, this is things that we are still in close, like I would say, in contact. And for now, I think we're in a moment where our tech is really mature and is supporting them. And their core business is less of Web3 orchestration. So yes, there's a chance that this volume move to us. I would be lying to say that if I have a date. However, I also know that they're moving away from Web3 orchestration core business that didn't really create IPs for them, because it's the protocol that was doing most of them, and they are a totally different company. They raise funds independently. They are doing their own, like it's an it's a startup. It's another company that raises money on different fronts. We are a foundation building the rails for payment, so the high chance that they rely on us in the future, and they will potentially reduce their investment in their Web3 orchestration. This is speculative, but it says I'm I really believe what I said. But again, no plans, and it's their choice. And I would find it weird for them to move away from our stack to pay for a fee for something they have already through a decentralized, and they're potentially investing less effort in today. Do you feel the new payment-focused strategy was the right move, and do you see more businesses implementing Request? This only time will tell in terms of volume, because that's what I'm waking up in the morning to make sure I can prove and show you that we're on the right track. Today we have some volume, but not the level that we want. However, the sales cycle has shortened up way more. The quality of our discussions have increased, like the maturity of our leads as well. And I think it like I'm a strong believer that we're on the right track. An invoice, and I'll do the question the other way around, is I believe that us for so long focusing on invoicing solely was a mistake. Because if you are in the crypto space hoping for an accountant, so imagine if you do an invoice, it means that you are doing your accounting, that you're declaring your taxes, that you are tech savvy, and potentially you have a finance team, because if you're a one-man show, you don't really care about declaring your finances. So I do feel that our total addressable market for the invoicing product, even though the idea is great, and this is something we want to do, was not the right starting point. And what we're seeing today is, especially what we see in the iGaming, so a gambling company does not want invoices. They just want to deposit funds on a prediction market platform. Um, we opened up that market. We would have never had, it would have never been possible. We'd say, hey, you need to create an invoice, do your invoice, and then potentially track the payment behind it. So, in my opinion, I do think that we are really on the right track. And as well, seeing that the Fireblocks of the world are, to be fair, like in terms of timeline, like our design was from January, and they just announced it, I think, in ECC, and like end of, like, I think, mid-June. So we are technically 6 months ahead in terms of vision and execution. And we're seeing a lot of these players as well going to iGaming, So I believe that we're on the right track on our payment product, that we're on the right track to also try to serve the one we needed. So crypto native companies, potentially these new markets that we're discovering that need crypto, not just want to build on crypto like in Web3, but that need crypto and stablecoin settlements to move funds. We're also seeing that with Mika, we are decentralized and we're not under, like we are, I would say, we are not falling under the scope of Mika by being decentralized, but permissionless, um, and kind of like seen as DeFi, which means that a lot of players that lost the right to operate in Europe or to operate crypto as a whole, because they were actually doing with an in-principle license, are now in trouble and actually are coming to us. So I think that we've been patient, we've been very carefully crafting our products to allow payments, um, remaining decentralized, has been a really good call. So yes, I believe that the payment focus strategy was the right one. The short-term market to go to, even if it's not the long term, to get volume, to get feedback, and get people to use us and to see value was the right one. And then do we see more businesses implementing request? We went from a funnel of tiny builders that were technically hoping that request, like hoping to build their pet project or even smaller project or their business to pick up to, and I don't want to say too much, but businesses that are processing yeah, more than 100 millions per year easily. And these are the companies we're talking to on a daily basis. So we build the right products, we have the right approach, we when to tackle the right market to start with. We increased our capacity to talk to the right people, and we were able to deliver a product that speaks to them, and that makes sense. So the TLDR is yes. However, remember that last discussion we had, I think, was in February. This new strategy, the new product was just still on paper, and we've very aggressively pivoted to deliver it within 2 months, 2 months and a half, get our first customer in, and then matured it to actually go for even bigger customer now. So the TLDR is yes, I believe that it was the right move, and I believe that the progress we've made over the last 6 months are potentially bigger than the one we've done over the last 7 years in terms of business opportunities. Something I want to bring up for you three is the invoicing. With very, and totally unrelated to this question, we did a lot of research on invoicing, and I think we came to the conclusion that, in payment, like in crypto, when you own money, you prove that it's your wallet by being able to sign. There's no identity, it's anonymous, and you prove that it's yours by the ability to sign. We also discovered, and not discovered, but went very deep into what would an invoice look like in crypto. And we also figured out that having PII data or addresses or anything that is required for a tax declaration on chain was dangerous. We saw in France there's a wave of kidnapping for people that are related to crypto. This is because there's leak and people know the wallet address, how much they have, and where they live. And I think, and this also answered potentially to PG's question about invoicing, is yes, I know the white paper mentioned it, but the need to encrypt needs also a decryptor. And for this to have value, it means that the government needs to be able to decrypt, or that one of the party needs to decrypt. And I think what we've understood over the last few months is the encryption mechanism to allow bilateral decryption without exposing one guy to the risk, like the information leaking of the other guy. Let's say if you're buying on Amazon and you're invoicing the blockchain and Amazon gets exploited and all your wallet addresses and your addresses are leaked, this is a risk that we did not want to take. So also one of the reasons why we've put on hold invoicing is putting real human being data next to a wallet on chain, regardless of the amount of and that you don't let in the open with the other party of your invoice to share it for you or to leak it or get exploited, was something that was potentially not mature enough. So I do think as well that we did a very good choice to go into payment, because I believe that an invoice in Web3 is not an invoice where your data is on it, but an invoice where you actually can prove the ownership of that invoice. So potentially they will not be used for tax reason that needs your address, your national ID number and your name, etc. But potentially something that could be used for other things like real world asset, collateralized loans, or so on. So the TLDR is yes, payment was the right way, and also technically, I also feel that I didn't want Request Network to be a place where you can dox people with a wallet and thing. And if one day there's like if quantum resistance or like yeah, if there's a problem with like computers that could just decrypt what's on chain in IPFS forever. Same goes with GDPR, where you have the right to be forgotten. It's There's a bit of an edge case that we need to be careful. So TLDR is yes, payment was the right one. Also, technologically and legally, I think it was also the right move to make sure that we can keep growing, keep investing, and serve people who need it, and potentially not jump into the regulatory loophole that on-chain personal data encryption might result into. And I think that was the last question. So guys, do you have any additional question? Yeah, I know that potentially there's some additional question that might come from what I mentioned. Here the goal is really to be as transparent as possible. As you might have seen, there was a lot of work in the background, but again, not a lot that can be seen by the community, and I acknowledge that. I'll just wait for Noob's question. And Martin, if you have another, feel free to. If not, I'm always available. Feel free to ping me directly. I tend to like direct pings rather than group, unless it's an answer that is useful for everyone. Noob, take it. Do you predict anything major with that will materialize before the end of the year? Um, yes. So the question for Noob is, do you predict anything major will materialize before the end of the year in regards to new companies using the product? Yes. I'm quite annoyed that we cannot announce anything yet. But yes, the answer is we are targeting, the target is still to launch volume very, very soon. I cannot mention too much dates, but yes, it's imminent. And I believe that we have went through most of, like, we have a lot of businesses integrating a lot with AI, and our ability to be integrating with AI, the integration go way faster. So our ability to have people onboarded and to processes is greatly increased. And yes, the TLDR is yes, we have really cool things in the pipe. So please be patient. Everything came in this order for a reason. I still believe that we did the right call. Potentially did the wrong call in the way we let you know, but as you know, it's important that we cannot announce things here. Insider trading going every direction. We're trying to build, make sure that we only announce what was already shipped, and making sure that we only announce what exists already. Um, Good question. So, Martin, this is a bit annoying because there's no subgraph on Tron. So I think we had to index. I can check with Rodrigo. But yeah, technically we don't have the usual subgraphs, but we have data that we could potentially share for Tron. It's just that Subgraph were not available on Tron, so we had to find a workaround. We still function the same way with our. It is, but I think there's a gap. That's a good point. Thanks, Econ. I'll check. I'll check with the team. I remember that there was a limitation, and so it's a setup that's not exactly the same. We'll look into it. Wisdom is also yes. So the volume will go through request network, Martin. It's the volume that will go through our smart contract with the subgraphs. There's only one thing in certain rare cases, and that's something we're trying to fix. Sometimes the bridge bypasses our smart contract on receiving chain. So in certain rare cases, we rely on detection. As an edge case, I would rely on the bridge that we're using to enrich our data. So there's edge cases where potentially will fall, but 99.99 will be there. Maybe an MCP for Aaron docs for AI agents. So actually, yes, we've already improved our docs. So there's two things. There's the LLM dash hyphen text docs that allow LLMs to integrate. I don't know if you've seen, I think I posted a video, but you can integrate with Lovable in 10 minutes and 3 prompts to request network. So I was able to create a candy shop in no time that actually you can get paid on request network. Actually, where is it? I can potentially share it. And again, this is just a random design, but technically here in just 20 minutes, this is a demo we've made, but you actually can have a basket. You just buy 2 candies, you pay with crypto, and it goes directly to request network. It goes to KYT. Here I can pay from Base USDT, for example, if I want to swap. And then in one click, I'm able to get a quote for 1 cent. I send across chain, and that's it. And I sign, go through, and it, in this case, is just swapped. So you can see here, you have the ability to see the transaction. So you actually can see, so this was bundled. This is mine. Yes, that's $2, and actually 201 were sent. And you can get a receipt, and as well, getting back to your website. And here I actually was notified through a webhook that it went through. So we've done quite a good job, and this is just you and 3 prompts being able to. And Alex is actually launching a campaign on the AI integration. We also believe that people during summer are creating their own projects and want to make sure that people can capitalize on collecting crypto with request. The other part is MCP is slightly different. MCP is more for real-time usage of request network. So we have also done all the preliminary studies on MCPs, and so we are working. So we are in the planning of building an MCP for request network that would allow you to create payments, badge them out, create payment links, get payment statuses, which we believe then any of the partner that will be using us will be able to use that for customer support, refund management, and etc. So we're really removing the need for a payment processor. From the MCP, you actually could handle refunds or manage the transaction back. And oh yeah, good point, Econ. Yes, that's why we're fixing our docs, by the way. We are in the middle of doing this. When you talk to AI, it tends to want to integrate with the SDK rather than the API. And so sometimes it goes in the wrong direction. So that's something you're working on. We believe we should have it, like we have already scoped, we haven't prioritized it, but it should be done within 1 to 2 weeks. Our data will be entirely fixed. Today, on the communication that Alexi is preparing, we are providing a bit more meaty and bigger prompts that actually can handle everything. You'll just have to place your secrets and being able to transact like this. Good question. So subscription is a bit, I'll be entirely transparent. We have focused on making sure that anybody could get paid on any chain, which was something that did not exist. The ability to do a subscription, which we have built, by the way, but this is mostly on a single chain. So it's a matter of we decided not to prioritize subscription because we today have not found a way to manage cross-chain subscription with quotes and swaps. So it reduces to a single chain. So it's something that we will be working on, but it's something that we'd potentially start working around September or August. During summer, we have now the bigger integration that are taking most of our efforts with bigger partners that requiring certain specific features, especially around orchestration. And so that's what we've done. So we'll work on it. And again, I mentioned priority because I know that we have a pretty packed timeline for the next few weeks, but we can look into it if it's easy to fix. Today, the client ID is slightly different because it's on our dashboard, and we have never integrated subscription to our dashboard, nor the second payment page. So there's a bit of work to be done there. Let me scope it. Let me check with the team if there's a quick win. But today we have put it on the back burner to make sure that we can increase coverage, people paying. Yes. You guys are the only one who have the subscription with Splits as API provider, and you're saying that I totally agree. Yes, and we actually have multiple customers asking for it. We also know that they tend to one subscription on every chain and in one currency. So there's a big product decision to make sure that the product fits their need. Um, maybe do you mind if I reach out to you just to understand your use cases in more details? This is very important to make sure that if there's something we can prioritize to go quickly, that would be great. Awesome. I'll reach out to you because yeah, if you ask a consumer what they want, usually they want everything, and then you end up building everything for not real commitment to use. But yeah, we need feedback on that. So I'll reach out to you. Awesome. So I think that's all the questions I could cover. Anything else before I close the channel? Awesome. I'll take it as a no then. Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the questions, and take care. Looking forward to the next one. We'll try to do this every 3 months max, so we can make sure that at least those questions can be answered more often. And if we can do it more often, if it's informal like this, potentially we'll do it even more often. So thanks, guys. Have a lovely evening, and thanks for your time. Angie, I'll reach out to you. Bye, guys.